someone who wants to have a child without a man, or a man who wants a child without a woman. Is it possible? Yeah, I believe it's possible, but is it legal?
Like COVID was there, you can't travel to Kenya.
So Australia.
So you remove your sperm in US, they pack it in the storage, they fly it here, the wife is here in Kenya, and they are able to.
So in 2022, I had a lot of burning questions about the sperm business. Let's say someone has opened their own kienyeji sperm bank out there, alafu a cleaner was cleaning, alafu a table and a bucket of sperm okay. Is that what we call, could that result to an accidental death? That's not how fertilization works. Most of you can remember that 2022 was the height of the Kunyonga pandemic. So we set out to do a documentary about it, and the Nairobi IVF Center was kind enough to answer all our questions. In fact, I dare say that we got more than we bargained for. An embryo here can be picked in the year 3100, fertilized, and then it becomes a person who was conceived in this millennium, and then they are born or they are made into a human being 1,000 years to come.
That's possible.
So we uploaded the original video to another channel. So if you've come across it before, you know it's pure good vibes. If this is your first time watching this video, I guarantee it's worth every second of your time. A special thank you to everyone who participated in the project. Some of my industry friends spared their precious time to contribute to an idea that no one knew where ilikuwa inaenda, and now here we are.
Hey, kuna mtu ameonyesha interest.
As a fun fact, some of the participants on this video at the time of production were mere sperms. They are people now. Enjoy. You've got to appreciate life differently, especially when you look at human beings as former sperms. When you look around, all these, ladies and gentlemen, are they that hatched. Is it just me who thinks like that? Like, what do my friends think of the idea of a sperm bank?
Okay, si ni bank tu ya sperms.
I think whatever I know about a sperm bank, nimewatch kwa movie.
Oh yes, I've heard of a sperm bank before, courtesy of what I do. Never seen, never been to where this happens. But yes, I think I have an idea of what a sperm bank is all about. Oh, ouch.
It's a very wide phenomenon. Figuratively and literally.
Tell you what, a simple Google search of a sperm bank in Kenya leads to very attractive results that catch attention right away. They have you with suggestions like, how much is a sperm donor paid in Kenya?
If it's the act alone, manze, you're having fun, so whatever amount utapewa iko tu sawa. Disema 5,000.
Ni mtu akinipatia milioni 5 mimi sitakataa.
Professional fees. There's some variables there that I need to know. First of all, how do they measure? Do they measure by, milliliters? How do they determine the quality? Because I also want to know what's the quality of my sperm. Ndio hata mimi nikuwe na kiburi. Naweza kwa hapa maze najipigaga kifua kumbe quality yangu iko nje. Quality yako haiko. Maze, so I guess that's something that I'll have to determine first. Niende nipime nijue what's the quality of my sperm. My friend, ikiwa iko tu sawa, mtafurahia. Hiyo bana, this is me, man. Half man, half amazing. No, hiyo nikikuitisha nusu milioni bana sijakufinya sana.
I feel like I've just discovered a new line of work that allows you to mix business with pleasure. Like, this feels like I have just opened the Pandora's box of wealth declaration. I mean, could this be why some of the richest men in Kenya cannot explain the source of their wealth, man? Or maybe this is why having a lot of money is called balling. Now, one of the results for a sperm bank in Kenya is the Nairobi IVF Center. Guys, it looks promising. I don't see the title sperm bank there. It's IVF.
When you Googled, you are not guided in a wrong way.
Yes.
Because Nairobi IVF Center was the first IVF center in Eastern Central Africa.
Yes.
Therefore, the direction is correct. IVF center is where you take an egg. IVF is where you take an egg and you take a sperm, fix it in outside the body, and then return into the body within 5 days. And
You
the
take
embryo,
an egg?
egg and sperm, mix it in a test tube, and then return the embryo.
There's a process of mixing.
Yes.
Not like coffee.
Not like coffee. Mixing it, meaning the embryologists will do their work,
Yes.
and then in that process, an embryo will result from that. An embryo is not. You see, a
fertilized
sperm is not a baby. The egg is not a baby.
So when they combine,
When they combine, the sperm will fertilize the egg, and that fertilized egg is called an embryo.
thank you.
Yes,
So
and
the process, I'm sure you check the process. Do you find, I'm sure you've also been part of the process, like when you put a sperm and an egg, is it automatic that the sperm will go into the egg, or some sperms have to be pushed? Like, do you find sperm that don't feel like?
there are so many sperms
That don't feel like
that
they are-
don't feel like, and that is why we have a process called ICSI, whereby a sperm is directly injected into an egg.
Forced into an egg.
Yes.
But also if it doesn't feel like, will that
There's no
result
way.
into a lazy baby?
No, there's no way a sperm, when it's being injected, direct injection. It's called intracytoplasmic injection. Direct injection of a sperm.
An individual sperm.
One sperm, one egg.
Singled out.
Yes.
That's a sperm that did not even raise the
It does.
one
It does
in a
not.
million race.
It does not need to, and that's the process is supposed to make. It's a scientific process. If the natural way that a sperm is supposed to raise is defeated or is not coming forth, then therefore you use the scientific way to make everything easier and comfortable.
You sure that's not how we end up with the lazy people? Like, seriously, because there is a reason why the sperm, as in, you don't have to choose like the most active, the most strong, like, to go through the process.
You see, when they are doing sperm wash and sperm selection, the embryologist has already chosen the right sperm for that procedure.
They vote for the sperms.
They-
Like, it's like an election of sperms to choose the representative that will be chosen
Let us
to do.
say but you see the egg, the sperm will be picked. The sperm will be picked, the good sperm, because during the wash and preparation, the abnormal sperm will be deleted out, and the lazy ones will not therefore function. So they'll have good sperm for use.
Isn't it too much power for you to be here on the microscope and identify one sperm among the millions and say it is you that is going to be a human being? So in fact, when you meet this person later in life, do you know I could have chosen the sperm next to you?
No, what I believe,
Or would you blame yourself if someone turned out to be, let's say, a gangster, and then you're like, oh Lord, I chose the wrong sperm?
No, actually, it's not me who's choosing. It's God who's choosing.
No,
you know,
imagine.
I don't
what
know.
are the odds? Like, there are these millions. Choose this one, becomes a president, and then choose this other one, becomes a terrorist. As in, when you think about it from that perspective, and you're like, oh Lord, if I just moved the needle 1 inch, because you could probably even remember how they are playing here.
Okay,
That doesn't apply.
when once fertilization has occurred, that's a person with free will.
Oh, I'm forgetting to blame the egg. Yes.
It's a person with free will. He will choose whatever he wants. One sperm cannot make a president. It's also the other half of the egg which also has to make a president.
So you have to choose your eggs wisely.
So it's now not being me being just a vessel of God and being used. This one will be a dancer. This one will be this. It's not my choice.
What's the process of obtaining the sperm from them?
It's just masturbation.
I don't think there's any other way, man. A monkey has to be choked.
Unapata umewekewa magazine. Uko na magazine ya Nicki Minaj hapo, uko na ya Ambare hapo, uko na magazine ya Huda, uko na magazine ama uko na video ya pornografia. Unatazama ile pornografia, alafu wewe ukisikia uko tayari, unafanya nyonging.
There's a process of preparing the sperm donor. part of the information that is given to the donor is also how to remove the sperm, the sample. So we'll tell them how to do it in terms of, we're not teaching them, but we need, please produce a sample of sperm. But we tell them that the first ejaculation has to go inside there.
There are donors who overdo it. Like, why do you need to insist on the first one?
First ejaculation, the first drops include that's what contains the sperm. The rest of the sample is seminal plasma, which is just adding more volume.
So the second round is not as...
No, not round. I'm not talking about round. The first drops that come out, those have to enter that sample, the tube. If you miss it, then the other, after 2 seconds, those that come later contain just fluid. Because the point is to get the good concentration of the sample.
Okay. And Gainer, maybe off topic kidogo, if you can please help for the professional donors who may not come here, the donors who practice for themselves, what kind of products should they look for in a supermarket? What waache kulemea milking jelly? It's affecting farmers out there.
The product that they should use, they should not use petroleum-based lubricants. They should go water-based lubricants. Yeah, because the petroleum-based lubricants I think they say it has detrimental effects on their skins, and all that.
So basically, they have to be sinners briefly. Are they guided through a way to repent after that if they are strong Christians?
What is the definition of a sinner? How do you look at somebody and see sin?
The son of David, who they quote for obtaining sperms without a woman, somewhere in the Bible. I don't remember the page.
You see, we do this. Sperm donation is in the Bible. There is even a certain man who was punished by God for he was instructed to.
That is the guy. That is the guy.
Is it the same guy?
Yes,
my guy. My mind now.
Yes, the same guy. The guy who God told to
have some relation with a woman so that they could desire a child.
Donation, I believe.
Yes, that you see, a sperm donation issue is in the Bible, and God Himself struck that man dead because he was having fun instead of having an assignment.
That donors don't have fun.
Donors, I don't know how to describe fun when it comes to sperm donation, but I know they purely come here to assist someone who is in dire need.
In terms of identification of donors, I was told that by Robin actually, that university students are the best candidates for donations because apparently for intelligence. Do you factor in the fact that some people copy their way to university?
Copy their way?
Yeah. Copy exams, KCSE, they pass, and then wanaingia campus, unafikiria their campus material, and then you give your client a baby who's supposed to be, let me not give, a baby was not meant for campus, a baby who does not have the intelligence level that a campus student is assumed to have. Do you factor that in?
No, okay, for me, from the experience we have here, from a man perspective, let's say you are a couple, you have come here, you want to have the situation is you have to have a sperm donor. It's very, for the man, it's very hard to choose the sperm donor yourself. You know, you're a man going to choose nataka huyu Charlie huyu ndio nipe mtoto. It's very hard. So they usually, most of them, they remove themselves from the process. So now it becomes the woman who now chooses the sperm donor. Now when it comes to women to choose now the sperm donor, education sometimes is not the factor. So now people will tend now to choose how someone looks, because somehow someone looks, education may come depending on maybe their status. Because most also, if you think about it, infertility affects wide spectrum.
Yes.
So you'll find that most people who come here, even if it's 50-60%, are not rich, you know. So their background is not from the education perspective. Yeah. So now when they come here, education is not the main factor. Yeah.
You actually brought a very interesting point, like women care about how the donor looks. Do you see a scenario whereby someone is at the reception, a client is at the reception, and then they see someone getting into the sperm bank saying, I want that one, I want that one. Do you have such a case like, hey, is a donor?
We're gonna super donor.
Then why don't you even why do you have to go through the whole process and you see they can just have sex?
Now, that is a very complicated, it's how it is. You see, we are ethical, and also on our side, we are Christians. So we cannot tolerate like doing it like that. You see, as we believe.
Or you cannot donate biologically.
You cannot.
You have to go through the machine.
We cannot participate in immoral acts. That's what I would say. If someone says a donor and they say want a donor and they want to go have sex with the donor, you see, we for us participating in that would be immoral.
You don't give people what they want.
Okay, you see now the thing is, donors come in two. There's anonymous, means you don't know the donor, and then there is unknown donor. So when a client will come to the clinic, they can never know who has what business in the clinic, yeah? But if they want a donor, you have a profile where you have, let's say, right now we have around 300 sperm donors. So each donor has a booklet where now it describes their profile, whether it's education, a picture of them, their health status, and such kind of thing. Yeah? So the patient will, or the clients will have a way of now choosing their donors who they don't know through the information we give them per file. Yeah? So they will never really know who comes to do what business. Yeah, but you may find that clients will prefer now a particular group of people, donor, you'll find that is preferred.
Umeenda through hiyo nini yote, umeacha specimen yako hapo alafu hakuna mtu anaitaka. Do you know what that would do to someone's self-esteem?
You look like a donor who will go find it out kama
Maze, kuna mtu ameonyesha interest.
So we have superstar donors.
Yeah, so you'll find that, for example, most clients will go for a donor who's maybe their tribe, the first thing, then they now go to
Embryos have tribes.
now the sperm. Talk about sperm. Yeah, the sperm donor has a tribe, so now they will go first maybe for the ethnicity, then next thing now they go to now maybe features or education. Yeah.
Tribalism starts from the egg.
It starts from the egg.
I have also learned a great deal of information on how surrogacy works from the only lawyer practicing in that field in this country presently. What are the terms of surrogacy in surrogacy motherhood in Kenya? Like how much does a surrogate mother get, say legally, according to the circles? How much does a surrogate mother get? How many times can one be a surrogate mother?
Okay. First, I'll start with the recruitment of surrogates so that I get to how many times one can be. You must be 25 years and above.
You must be 25
yeah,
years
so
and
you
above.
see it's already limiting.
You've edged out 18 to 24.
18,
Miaka ya
24,
kisirani, it's nowhere near
hatutaki
surrogate.
hiyo. Alafu tena psychologically, I don't think they're mentally prepared to do all that, you know, because those surrogates also go through psychological analysis.
You block sinners biologically.
Yes.
Okay.
You must have a child, a living child, who ideally should be 23 years and above. Sasa
The
kama wewe ni
womb- the
25 na
womb must
hujazaa
be-
pia umekuwa blocked
The
out.
womb must be tried and tested.
Exactly. You must be working because you're coming to carry for someone else whose womb is not working. So clearly we can't just put you through a process,
Yes.
which we couldn't. You must be medically cleared. The HIV testing, kila kitu, etc., etc. We must have a criminal clearance for you. So you bring the certificate.
Criminal clearance, what's the relations na hiyo blood, hiyo damu haitaenda mtoto, the blood will not mix with the child's blood.
Unabeba mtoto wa wenyewe.
But
You're not genetically related to these people. You're not related to these people. What happens if you run away with the child?
Or you may be feeding the
You
child
may
with the proceeds
be-
of crime.
Exactly, ama nini nini, you know. So we just, and I think also it's for the ease of mind of the
Okay.
parents. So The idea, the one that I want to really point out is the 25 years
Yes.
and having a child. Ideally, we prefer someone who has a child that is 3 years and above. So you see that one already cancels out a lot of people. So how many times can you be a surrogate? And we want the surrogate to be between 25 to 40 years, because once you get to 40 years, ideally it's up to 35 years, because you know after 35 years of pregnancy is just problematic.
As in, right, 25 to 40, right after the seaning period, right
And
before
your
menopause.
life begins again. So you see between 25 to 35, which is the ideal age, is just 10 years. So you've cancelled out a lot of people. Once you're 35 years, yes, you can be a surrogate after 35 years, but the chances of having a problematic pregnancy increase. So that is what we are trying to level out, because you don't want to put a woman through a pregnancy process and then she gets complications later. And you know, and maternal age kishafika 35 kubeba mimba pia inakuwa shida.
Okay.
So how many times can you be a surrogate? We advise twice. Why twice? Because once you give birth the first time, you're supposed to stay, if it's a natural birth, you stay at least for 1 year before you can be a surrogate again. If it's a cesarean section, at least 2 years before you can be a surrogate again. And we do not want this to be a commercial enterprise where women are just out there waiting to get pregnant and get money. So kazi yao tu ni kungoja after every 1 year wanazaa. And it also takes a toll on your body, because most of the time these girls will not come until they've given birth to only one child. You see, maybe they already have 2 children, some have 3 children, they're like 32, kizaa wa kwanza, alafu uongeze mwingine. You see, you can't just keep giving birth and giving out. And maybe you want to get married, have your own kids. You also have to weigh in those factors. Secondly, a birth process.
So a surrogate mom is someone who's probably in a relationship. You have a husband. You offer yourself as a surrogate. If your husband wants to get another child, he has to join the queue, wait for his turn.
Yes, but that is what we understand by yes. It is true. That is true. Yes, but most of the time, these surrogate mothers are single mothers.
2 advantages. Number 1, for couples in a long distance relationship, can you send your eggs from America so that your wife has your own child? Like, oh, nimetuma mayai na DHL, you can.
So it's very easy. You see, some people can't travel. Like COVID was there, you can't travel to Kenya.
In
Australia. So you remove your sperm in US, they pack it in the storage, they fly it here. The wife is here in Kenya, and they are able to do the whole process of IVF and get a child. Although sperm was produced in America.
What do they label it as? Subhuman.
It is labeled as human sperm. It's very easy. You know, the thing is with this relationship between, always there are laws that govern the countries. So us as a clinic, we can write to another clinic and tell them there's a client of ours who's coming there to remove sperm. Can you help them? They do help him, and they're able to remove the sperm there, and it's there. They pay the services that are needed. The clinic sends that sample directly to our clinic.
What's the nationality of that baby? Who has amepanda ndege hata kabla hajakuwa mayai? What's the nationality?
Sasa, okay. Now that's
immigration stuff.
Yeah, that's immigration stuff. But although we have in our center we have an expert that governs the ethics, those can guide you on that.
From a legal perspective, someone who wants to have a child without a man, or a man who wants a child without a woman, is it possible? Yeah, I believe it's possible.
Yeah.
But is it legal? If not, why?
Okay, in this process, usually a lot of processes, it's to the advantage of a man. A lot of societal processes, it's always an advantageous to man. But in infertility treatment, the primary patient is usually a woman. Legally most of the time, medically most of the time. So it is very easy for a woman to have a child without a man, basically because she provides the egg most of the time. And most importantly, she provides the womb. You see, if it's a man, you have to start looking for an egg, start looking for a womb, and there are so many legal challenges that come into play because if you have to look for a womb, that means surrogacy. And there are issues where you cannot, there are conditions which mandate you to have a surrogacy program. You can't just go and do surrogacy because you're a man and you want to go and proceed. But for a woman, it will be easy, even if it is surrogacy, if she provides her own egg. So all you need to do is just get a sperm donor and carry your baby and conceive as natural as possible. This is your child. Mwanaume itabidi atafute mayai, atafute womb, so many conditions to come into effect, so it becomes a little bit complicated. Even in the adoption processes, you always find that it's easier for a woman to do adoption, say, than for a man. It brings in a lot of challenges. So for the woman to have a baby without a man, absolutely possible, 100%.
For a man,
to have a child without a woman, a lot of challenges.
Like I donate my sperm, I get an egg donor, and then I contract a surrogate.
You see, sasa hapo, it's because when we get to the surrogacy bit that we are getting into, you realize for a person to have a surrogacy program, there must be a condition, a medical condition that necessitates that. And the medical condition must come from the woman because now she cannot use a womb because you're going to use someone else's womb. Okay. So you see, this man does not have a womb.
Being scared of giving birth, being scared of giving birth
or having a hot figure like me and you do not want to grow fat is not a medical condition. You must have a medical condition that necessitates you to acquire another human being to gestate for you.
As far as psychological problems, this is where the law draws the line. Being scared does not count.
Being scared does not count.
Let's say, for example, you are in your youth. You don't want to have a child at 22, right? As a woman. You can store your egg to have your baby at 33, 34, 35, or 40. What's the name? What do you call that?
Like that's egg freezing. So it makes a lot of sense. Yes. Because you see, the biggest challenge in women is age of their eggs, because the women are born with the eggs. With
3 million, you told me.
Yes, and men, the sperm is generated continuously. So for the women, it makes sense. You store your eggs when between age of 20 to 35. That is when most of your eggs are fertile. So you store your eggs at that time. Yeah. Then now you can have your career if you want. If you want, whatever you want to do, you do. Yeah, your social life, you do it. Then after that, when you are ready to have a partner and have a baby, yeah, then now it makes sense to use eggs that are viable, that have high success rates, and use it to have a baby. It makes much more sense.
And that also offers a couple the chance to have a child when a partner has passed on. Like, let's say a husband who has his wife's eggs stored can come to the clinic and then have the fertilization process and have, or the vice versa.
So, okay, can you imagine that? Those are the complexities that are in this thing. You see, like right now, the only challenge in this thing that the question you asked us, there is no regulation. You see, so now it comes now. Like that's something that has never happened in this center. A dead husband using their husband's the wife's eggs, or vice versa. Yes. So those are things that come up, and you see those laws and regulations are not available. Yeah? So a case like that, like in our case, we just have to refer it to our internal bioethicist, so that now she can dig into that complexity, see what's ethical, not ethical.
But on my own opinion, I think that's something that is very, very wonderful. If you see, there's some things that sort of beyond our control, like death, but you can do continuity of life. You have eggs stored or sperm stored. One of the partners dies. So if you can make a child out of that, it really makes good sense.
Also, there is no way you can miss the contrast between the sperm room, of course for men, and the egg room where women undergo the fertilization procedure. We are talking high-tech equipment, a specialist. The sperm room, on the other hand, is very simple. Just a bed, and the rest is left to your imagination.
Na Erastus ako wapi tumalize hii kazi tuende? Erastus, amenda?
Guys, I'm coming.
I've seen your equipment, and that's one area I was like, hey, our God is a God of wonders, because the kind of equipment needed to store a sperm compared to what God did, like the contrast of the equipment that you need, everything, the nitrogen, nini, whereas God only needs a sack of meat that I don't even think a lot of attention was paid in the design. I don't think he paid, he invested so much time in the sperm storage, the natural sperm storage system.
So here's where we store our embryos and sperm. This side is for sperm.
Yes.
And this left side is for embryos.
Sperm and embryos.
Yes.
Like no eggs. Like these are fertilized eggs. These are sperm.
Yes.
Okay.
So with the eggs, we also put them as embryos.
Ah.
So this is just sperm, and this is, as you said, oocytes and embryos.
So God forbid if something happened, and then like an earthquake, and then these bottles shake into each other, there's a whole generation of human beings in this room.
There are 50,000 at least human beings in this room. So if something happens, we have lost 50,000 babies.
No, let's look at the bottle as half full. If an earthquake happens, we have 50,000 human beings in this room.
We have 50,000 human beings, more than 50,000.
And 50,000 in what state? In the embryo state. For how long can you store them?
So with liquid nitrogen, you can store them for eternity. They can stay for millenniums, millions of years, yes, for eternity. This is as long as you fit the optimum conditions of whereby nitrogen is there, they can stay as for long as possible.
So an embryo here can be picked in the year 3100, fertilized, and then it becomes a person who was conceived in this millennium, and then they are born or they are made into a human being 1,000 years to come.
That's possible. That is very much possible.
Yes.
Even the sperms, the same. They can stay for eternity. And that's why we need a lot of laws to help us with storage in terms of how long can you stay with an embryo.
Okay.
Because this is life. And we want to make sure that it's preserved and it is not stored, it's passed to another generation. Because a lot of people are in demand, are in need of these embryos.
Yes.
This through donor embryo program.
Yes.
But the price is a bit high, but it can, we work out to make sure that we have the best price. But if this, one of the best options is if we can find a way of having low prices to, yes, transfer this, a lot of patients can benefit.
Yes. So like in the world, Semao started from the bottom. These are people who can talk about started from nitrogen. Starting from the bottom, literally starting from negative 96
196 degrees Celsius.
Negative 196 degrees Celsius.
This is as cold as space, minus 196 degrees Celsius.
So hapa ndani nikiingiza mkono.
So hapa ndani,
yeah,
in nitrogen tank.
Yes.
This is a nitrogen tank. Inside is liquid nitrogen.
Okay. And
inside are embryos. This is called a cane. Each cane holds several embryos.
Okay.
And as you can see, these are several. For each cane has several embryos. So this can hold maybe 40.
Yes.
And you can say this has 1,000 embryos.
Yes.
So if you put this is a 6,000 embryos. Okay. So if you calculate, maybe there are 10. Those are as many embryos as there.
And the marvel of life is that the difference between me and you and an embryo is time.
Yes.
Wow. You want to show us something?
This
you want to show us liquid nitrogen?
This is liquid nitrogen?
Yes.
It's liquid.
Yes.
If you hold it for too long, your fingers too long, they'll freeze.
Like freeze kabisa.
Freeze, it will freeze. I can show you a demonstration.
Yes, please.
So this is liquid nitrogen. This is my glove. It's elastic. If I put it inside here, then it's solid.
Just like that.
Yeah. So and also, I'll show you.
That's a rubber glove.
This is a rubber glove. It's turned to solid. And I'll also show you something again. If I put this over the glove, this is an embryo sometimes.
Yes.
To put it inside the nitrogen, it becomes frozen in time.
Yes.
As I said, it can stay for millions of years.
Yes.
Then when you remove it from nitrogen and leave it to warm,
Yes.
it should go back to its form. That is being elastic.
Wow, 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 wow. You said negative 196 degrees.
Yes.
Now I understand the jokes Kenyans make about baridi na watoto. The beauty of my quest about a sperm bank is that it has led me through a series of new information in the world of fertility. I've even gotten to meet one of Africa's top gynecologists. How do you describe what you do? It's a terminology thing for me. A passion, you have a passion for making babies or a passion for looking for babies?
I have a passion for helping those who are looking for babies. Those who have been trying to get baby and it's taken too long and they are not getting baby and it looks like they're not going to get baby. Then these are the people I would really want to help.
How do you know it's time to seek professional help in the context of a couple?
This is a couple who are living together.
Yes.
And they would like to have a baby, and they are doing all that they can to have a baby naturally. And this has not happened for a period of about 1 year. They definitely get concerned that something is not happening. So most of them come to see us when they have stayed together for at least 1 year without having a pregnancy.
What's the standard measure of knowing that it has backfired? Like, let's say, for example, you're on the 3rd month. I believe most people would like to be concerned around that time because I think the pressure from the in-laws start like 2 weeks before the wedding. So how do you know it has backfired?
Usually by the 6th month, most couples know something is not working. Yeah, but we always encourage them to be a bit patient because it could still work maybe up to the end of the 1 year. So at the end of 1 year, if it has not happened, then we know it may not be happening, something may not be working.
And that's the interesting thing about fertility. There are people who even get children without trying. As in, oops, you have a baby and then there are people who you keep doing everything right, but still there's no baby. Is there a science for the delay why someone would get a child after the 1 year, someone would get a child in the 1st month?
Yeah, those people who get baby in the 1st month, it means that their fertility is normal as it should be. Yeah, but that could delay into the 2nd, 3rd month. Yeah, but by the end of the year, it means that definitely there is something not working.
Every month that a woman and a couple tries to conceive, they have an 8% chance of getting pregnant. Yeah, so cumulatively, in a whole 1 year, 12 months, if you do 12 times 8, it comes around 96%. If they're trying to get a baby in the successful the 12 months consecutively, there's a 96% chance they'll get a baby.
And this is assuming you practice agriculture every night.
And you plan, you know, it's like you plan to, you know, you have had a menstruation period, so after 10 days you're starting to have sex, right? So it's something that you want to, a married couple want to have a baby, yeah? So cumulatively, it comes to 26%. But on that every individual month, it's 8%.
2004 is when we started now trying to start getting an IVF center in place. By September 2005, we got the first pregnancy, and that was the pregnancy that resulted into a child in May 2006. So our first IVF baby did not result from the most rich person. Okay. It resulted from one of the patients. With her permission, she gave me permission to be talking about her. She was a hawker in the streets of Nairobi, in Tomboya Street. Yes, and we were in Tomboya Street. And she used to bring in her money. Every now and then, she brings in 2,000, 5,000, as she sells her oranges and her mangoes. And that indicated to us that it's not how rich you are, it is how willing.
Is there some kind of monetary exchange for a sperm donor? Of course, I know there are limits, because I'm sure people will be queuing at the sperm room for the figures, but you say there are terms and conditions.
You see, a donor may decide to come from, let's say, Embakasi, use his money to come donate and go back to his place, right? So, of course, there is monetary giving of money in form of logistics. Someone has to have the someone ametoka Kiambu, yes, lazima utampea pesa ya kuku. It's like, it's a good example. It's like when you donate blood, so you are given soda at the end of it, right? Yeah. So it's the monetary value is in terms of transport.
So I can come here and say I'm from South Africa. So depending on
exactly, like for example, Mzungu amekuja, si ametoka, sometimes ametoka hata Mombasa, for example. No, kama ametoka Mombasa, ametoka holiday, ametoka. We have received like 2 white people who have come, and they have just come just to donate. Anakwambia nimetoka Mombasa, nataka kutoa sperms. So you have to compensate to transport.
How do you know this is not someone who's just stuck and they just want to wank for transport?
If they wank for transport, because you see, it is standardized even in worldwide. There's usually a monetary attached to it, yeah. But you see also, you cannot equate that money to that sperm. How much is a sperm?
And then I think there needs to be a review here. If you have a good donor, you should prepare testimonies for someone, like say a campus student later in life can give a testimony. If he was a donor who made good money, say, oh, my kids put me through college, my kids financed all my new life even before they were born. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, because really, you see some people, you see, but okay, some people, the problem is sometimes people just don't have enough money. You know, maybe the money that you give someone else is the money that you, maybe for that transport, maybe the donor is being given 5,000, right? That 5,000 to someone is, some people is a lot, you know. Someone is anyonge every for 6 weeks continuously. So per week you'll be coming twice approximately. So you'll have six times that you will come in that from beginning. You started today, 3 weeks, you'll remove 6 times continuous. Yes, there's good money that someone, if it depends, it's relative how you see it, but it's let's say 5,000 for that week twice, that's 10,000. For the 6 times that you produce, that's 30,000.
The surrogate mother has to be paid.
Yeah.
Is it payment? Because for sperm donors it's different. Is it payment or it's compensation for mood swings?
It is compensation. Not mood swings. It is compensation for time taken out of whatever she's doing to gestate for somebody else.
The compensation is good money.
Good is relative, but it's good money.
Give us a range.
From 500,000 and above, that is just the compensation.
Depending on the quality of the baby,
it's
the
not,
looks of the baby?
No, it's not about quality of the baby. You don't even know the quality. You don't even know the looks of the baby. What happens is they negotiate with the intended parents how much they wish to give. That is why I'm saying 500 kwenda mbele. That is just the compensation. There's also monthly upkeep that usually starts from around 30,000. It's supposed to be given for 10 months, 9 months of pregnancy and 1 month of recovery.
You're not worried that someone will stretch the pregnancy to 10 months?
Okay, but unless God does, I'm not sure that can happen.
Okay.
Yeah. So the minimum I've seen people being offered is 500,000, and mostly this is between relatives. Maybe it's your cousin caring for you. You just want to say thank you. And there are also the surrogacy programs where there's no money exchange.
Okay.
Yeah. So you decide just to do it with your sister. The ones I like most is where sisters and friends carry for each other.
And how sensitive?
And
how sensitive is the process? If you disagree within the 9 months and the surrogate mother changes their mind.
You see, that is now where it is very important that the child is not genetically related to the surrogate. If she changes her mind, she has every right to go with that pregnancy. But if she changes her mind...
changes the mind, I don't want the baby now. We're not friends.
No, once you can't change your mind. And that is why the recruitment process is very important. The surrogates go through psychological analysis. You find 6, 7 girls want to be surrogates. But once they go through psychological analysis, you can just weigh huyu ataleta shida, wachana na yeye, huyu atane. Maturity counts. Because you are going to carry a pregnancy for someone else and give out the baby afterwards. So there has to be a level of maturity. There has to be a level of understanding the whole process. You're not going to keep this child. You're not going to start saying, oh, nimebeba twin sasa. You need to add or double the monies, or I'm not going to give you the child. I'm going to run away. You need to have a level of maturity and understanding that this is, I don't want to call it work, but it's sort of work that you're doing for 9 months, renting your womb, and then moving on. You're not going to keep in touch with the child. You're not related to the child, so you do not need to keep in touch and find out the process, wanaendeleaje, etc. Because these are girls.
And breastfeeding?
No, she does not breastfeed. In fact, we always advise when they are going to give birth that doctors write a no breastfeeding order, so that when the girl just delivers, she actually gives out the child immediately at birth and does not do any breastfeeding or bonding with the child, because this is not her baby, remember. She's just carrying it for another couple. Genetically and everything, it's not her child. She's the birth mother, yes, but she's not the legal or the medical mother. She's just the birth mother, because she produced the child. She gave birth. So she is the birth mother.
That's the difference between impregnating the surrogate directly.
There is traditional surrogacy. There are 2 types of surrogacy. There's traditional surrogacy, which is not practiced a lot because it has no legal backing. You use IUI, for instance, because you're going to use the eggs of the surrogate mother and the sperm of the man, meaning this child is not only biologically related, she's not only the birth mother, but she's also the genetic mother. So you see, that is not a child that you can take away from somebody. Like if you and your wife, do you have a wife? I have people who are looking. So if you and your wife decide that you want a surrogate and you go the traditional way, and we use your sperm, for instance, you see, this is your child and that girl's child. Yes. Because you've used her eggs, you've used your sperm, so it's a genetic child to both of you. And this one becomes a little bit complicated. It cannot be legislated upon because this is a biological child. There's no way a magistrate or any judicial officer is going to take away parental responsibilities from a biological parent and give out to wherever. The only way this can happen is if the biological mother decides to give up the child, for instance, and the child undergoes an adoption process. Through there, you follow the adoption processes. But the one that is legally legislated all over the world is the gestational surrogacy, where the surrogate mother has no genetic link whatsoever with the child. You get eggs from the intended parent, sperm from the intended parent, fertilize, implant in the surrogate, she carries, she delivers. This is the intended parent's child.
Okay, so in short, traditional surrogacy is biological name for cheating.
Yes, it is actually. Thank you for using that word. It is a biological name for cheating. And you find people want to cut corners and they want to do that. And it will bring in a lot of issues. In fact, the first case worldwide, the BBM case, was because of a biological surrogacy. It's in America. And at the end of the day, these parties, it was legislated upon, and parties had to have biological rights. They had to have visitation rights and all that, because there's no way you're taking a child from the biological parents and giving to intended parents.
But the surrogate mom still keeps the traditional African mom bragging rights over the child. I carried you for 9 months. They still get
mothers do that. Yeah.
But the surrogate mom still retains that right.
Well, if she wants to, but who is she bragging to? Her friends, or who?
No. To intimidate the child.
Oh yeah, maybe if she wants, maybe that's just a mad woman. But if she wants to brag to the child to intimidate the child, then why not? She has all the rights to do that. Okay. In some legislations, actually, you are given 6 weeks to decide if you're going to give up the child or not, even if the child is not biologically related to you, because you're the birth mother, and that is why, yeah, in some legislations.
Do they have to abstain for the period of?
They have to abstain for the period of, not the period of pregnancy.
Yes.
Not really. They can go ahead and have sex like normal women when they're having pregnancy. They just go ahead and have sex. But we encourage them to abstain. Even if you tell them abstain, you're not going to be watching over them and finding out this one has abstained. You can't police them. Because you encourage them to abstain, but you don't expect them to fully abstain, really.
And is that because locally there is something that goes around that when your wife is pregnant, you have to continue having sex, so the baby can look like you. You add ears, the nose. It's
Mimi ni lawyer, si daktari, lakini najua that is just a myth.
No chance of that
You're not making any ears and wherever once a pregnancy has.
Once the deal is signed.
Once the deal is signed, that's it. Whatever will grow in is whatever is in. There's no extras that is happening.
Okay.
Though if you read, I've heard of situations where someone can get pregnant immediately, but those are the outliers. Those are the exceptional cases. Okay. 1 in 20 million. That is something you can just do your own research and read about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the event that the embryo divides in the woman and the contract was for 1 baby, you divide the babies in the end.
Actually, contract is not for 1 baby. We don't count human beings. Ng'ombe ati 1 cow, 1 calf, 1 nini. When you're entering into a contract, you're entering into a gestational surrogacy arrangement contract. So when you're even negotiating your compensation and whatever, you are told that there are chances that you will, like 2 embryos, your 2 embryos will be transferred, and there are chances that you'll get a multiple pregnancy. So when you're negotiating for your compensation, you need to negotiate an amount that you're comfortable with, if it's 1 baby or 2 babies. Okay. So because we don't say 1 baby is 200K, another one is ×2 or what, yes. Whatever amount you negotiate. If the parents want to give you something to say thank you later, that's up to them. That's up to the 2 of you, but that's not something that you can legislate upon.
You said something last time we met, something rather controversial, but makes a lot of sense. That a miscarriage is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, that's true. If anyone has a miscarriage, that's a blessing. Blessing whereby if you for miscarriage to happen, I know most people will say that miscarriage is witchcraft, something wrong here and there, but medically, if you have a miscarriage, it means that that baby has a genetic condition, genetic disease, which the body treats it as cancer and has to remove it out. So if the body has wants to remove that baby out because if someone is born with no feet, no legs, the head it will grow in such a way that you'll be able not to mental degradation, or the body will have to eject it out because it's seeing that it has a genetic defect, so it has to remove it. So if you cry that miscarriage is good, what if that baby was born and the baby has no eyes, no ears,
Okay, so does this mean that when someone has a miscarriage, they should go check why they had the miscarriage for professional help to avoid that happening again? And that's where the tests come in. Thank you. Robin mentioned something about an invasive procedure. IVF being an invasive procedure. But then along the corridors, I've seen a room labeled I can't say that word.
Anesthesiologist.
Yes. So to make sure that there is no pain. So the whole baby making process through the IVF clinic is purely a tasteless procedure.
Yes, it's one thing, you should one day look at a procedure that is done without anesthesia. It's for the first time the woman to get the eggs, the needle will go to the ovary.
Yes.
and it's a very discomforting feeling.
But you make sure that doesn't happen.
You have to make sure that, yes. So from the sperm process, it is enjoyable for the man. From the woman side, it's a 10-minute procedure. They feel, they just like went to sleep, then come back again. 10 minutes procedure. Yeah. So it's a very short time for that. The only thing that takes away is time. They have to look for time to come and do the process, because you can imagine working where you work as a journalist, and you have to tell your boss, I'm coming for IVF, and you need to give me all mornings. I'll not be coming. Men are always saying that women are the problem of getting a child. Actually, 50% of the problem is the man, then 30% is the woman. Always 50% of the time we find that it's a man's problem, and 30% is a woman's. The other 20% is something that is a bit in mystery. We don't know what it is, meaning both of them are okay, but we don't know why they are not having a baby. That's why we use the assisted reproduction to get a baby. So there's a lot of stigma of on coming to women. They are being blamed in society why they are not getting babies. But the biggest problem is the man. And there's pride that just going for that simple sperm test can make a big difference.
Sawa sawa. And in terms of my wild imagination, this is a wild imagination question, so please prepare for it. Of course, the IVF center has state-of-the-art equipment and stuff. Let's say someone has opened their own kienyeji sperm bank out there, alafu a cleaner was cleaning, alafu ategwe na bucket of sperm aanguke. Is that what we call, could that result to an accidental baby? That's not how fertilization works. This is coming from a place where when in primary school, I remember one of our peers warning us that, hey, you need to be very careful. Teenage pregnancy is something else. Even a drop of sperm can make someone pregnant.
That's true. A drop can make someone pregnant. A kadogo tu kaanga very lethal. So vile wanasema ukitegwa na bucket of sperm, that's sure, bet you will get a baby. That's for sure.
No, serious, like
ka drop na hujavaa kitu ndani.
Siku hizi watu wavai kitu ndani, that's the challenge. In fact, that's partly where the question is coming from.
That thing I'm telling like you, okay, we are made, unless there's just something, but what you are saying is a drop is lethal. But sometimes just that small factors, kama hizo tubal blockages ama the sperm that umeingia hapo, it does not have motility. But if a sperm is optimum condition, I can drop direct. Doesn't move, eh?
Ukitegwa ikumwagikie kama mama ni hivyo.
Hii kitu, hizi vitu zinaingianga, mimi sijui ziko millions. Bana ukimwaga mara moja, uko na 300 million sperm zinatafuta ka mayai.
Ndio hizi ndio mko anauliza, hii ikikumwagikia vibaya ama ukishika alafu ujikune vibaya ni hivyo?
Na hawezi, kwa sababu the problem is temperature and infection affects all that process, eh?
Yes.
So temperature kama it's wrong, they'll die. Infection also kills a lot of sperms. So, but ukimwaga saa hii,
yes,
it can stay for 5 days moving. In this room temperature. Unaona vile macha hivi?
Yes.
Naweza kaa 5 days.
Na sasa, how do you elect a sperm to fertilize an egg? Because I'm sure you don't pour them on the eggs that yote hivi kama blue band, as in ama nini.
So as I told you earlier,
yes,
there's a process called sperm washing, whereby they are dead sperm which are not moving. They are debris. This debris.
Like this one is dead.
And you can see here, this debris. In your chafu too. So we don't want debris. We don't want dead sperm. We just only want motile sperm. So like this debris.
Yes.
You can see there's maybe a dead sperm. There's some.
Show me a healthy sperm. Show me a healthy sperm.
A healthy sperm is what is moving. Anything moving
like this
is
one, this one looks like a musician.
or maybe is a dancer.
Yes.
It depends on what it will become. But they are dead sperm, as you can see. But there are ones also which are moving.
Hey, kwanza, this one is active, man. This one is looking for a way out. He doesn't know this guy was choking the turtle. This is very hopeful of human life in its most basic form, right?
Yeah, but actually, the thing is, the genetic code, half the genetic code that will make a human being is inside one of these. One of these contains data.
Yes.
If you put it in computer MB and GB.
Yes.
One would be around, when you do the sequencing, it can hold data up to 100 gigabytes.
This is quite not what I expected for a sperm bank. Unajua, my idea for a sperm bank was nikikuja nitaambiwa, unataka kufungua account na sisi, you want to open what kind of an account do you want, long term, short term, etc. It's not quite what I expected.
Nairobi IVF Center is a very lovely place. We started this center we started thinking about it way back in 1994 when Dr. Nore was doing his M.Med in obstetrics and gynecology, and I was his research assistant. So he had two questions. A gynecological question was age of menopause, and the obstetric question was outcome of pregnancy.
Yes,
and in that research, he came out with the results that not everybody who conceives delivers a baby. And so many young people have reached menopause without knowing that they are in menopause. So we purposed that one day we were going to start getting a solution for them.
And that is just a highlight of what I've learned from the curiosity drawn from the simple question of a sperm bank. I hope you've enjoyed what you've just seen. Please feel free to share with us your comments, compliments, and criticisms in the comments section. It will help us a long way in improving the quality of content that we bring to you. If you loved what you've seen, please give us a like, hit the notification button, and subscribe to the channel because we have more great content coming your way. My name is Dr. Kingori, and a special shout out to Madam Joy Nore for hooking us up. Now let's see where curiosity leads us from here. I'll see you on the next one.